grant of concession only begins the process. So the iron ore mines which got closed in Karnataka and Goa were all ongoing mines, and a lot of illegal mining happened with the big nexus, and a few politicians and bureaucrats are behind bars. And the court had to intervene and stop mining, and the mining is yet to get started again. Banned all across the country by NGT, and what it has resulted in a stop to construction activity across the country. Cement sales have gone down like anything, and industries dependent on cement industry are also gone down. So there is a huge amount of impact of sand mining on the national economy, and we have to understand why. Thousands of mines are closed for various reasons of environment clearance, forest clearance, court orders, etc. Lease renewals don't happen. Very high gestation period for opening a mine, where the process begins with the grant of a concession, then goes on with environment and forest clearances and mine plan approvals. Greenfield exploration has come to a standstill today. We'll look at that. And one view which is gaining ground is illegal mining has become a thriving business because possibly legal mining has become impossible. So who is responsible? What is responsible for this? So from the governance perspective, which perspective we are talking about? One is the mining industry perspective, where the survival has become an issue. Profits have started going down. Business risk and uncertainty has gone high. The other perspective is the downstream businesses, power generation, steel, construction, we talked about, fertilizers, general manufacturing, all are affected if the mining is getting affected. And Mr. Verma alluded to that by saying 1% increase in mining increases the industrial production 1.4 times and GDP grows 0.3%. Then there could be a national economy perspective where we see reducing contribution of mining to GDP, pulling down other sectors who are dependent on mining. Exports have gone down, CAD has increased, government revenues have gone down significantly, and then inflation rates, FDI, and just to give you a few figures, India mining contributes 1.5% to GDP, and you see countries which are of course much richer in mining, contributing something like 10% and above. Australia 7.8%, South Africa 7.5%, and almost 2.75 million people employed in mining in India, other than the indirect employment. This is how the GDP and mining contribution has trended in the last 5 years. So while GDP has gone down to almost 5% from a high of 9.3%, the contribution from mining is continuously going down in the last 5 years. And this includes fuel minerals also. This is how the index of mineral production has gone down. So it is lower than what it was 5 years back. And this is how the share of minerals exports to the overall exports from the country has gone down from 5.5% 2006-07 to 1.17% in 12-13. And most significantly, 12-13 exports of minerals reduction of about $2.8 billion contributed 50% to the reduction in the overall exports from the country. So the national economy is severely affected by the reduced mining activities. And then of course there is a community perspective, reduced employment, reduced earnings of the individuals, reduced social expenditures, and of course there is a sustainability perspective which actually becomes a problem to the industry, and which is something which we have to solve together. So the issues of illegal mining and resource nationalism and unscientific mining, the perception that there is an evasion of taxes and royalties, plundering of resources, damaging the environment and forests, no benefits to local community is a big issue, and becoming a foundation for the district mineral foundation. And of course labor welfare is also one of the issues. Now coming to the governance part, what are the different elements of governance when we talk about governance? So one, there is a constitutional and legislative framework And as Mr. Vijay Kumar explained, there are powers within the central government and then the state government, which the MMDR bill seeks to address to some extent. Then you have a multiplicity of laws. He talked about MMDR bill or an MMDR act. There are acts which are beyond that: Mines Act, Forest Conservation Act, EP Act, Land Acquisition Act, and of course there are subsidiary acts which always impinge upon the mining activity. And there is no single point responsibility. Now this is a very, very important point, because each agency, each government, each department, whether it is within the central government or in the state government, talks only about what is their responsibility, while the industry has to face everybody. And that becomes a problem, and when the cases go to the courts, they look at the holistic picture. And that's what is happening in Goa and Karnataka. So can we look at governance from a perspective of a single point responsibility and at least move towards that? That may be a utopian dream. Then there are various policies and international conventions. Again, there is no single point of congruence.